When I was a little kid, I would always drive by amazing houses like this and wonder, what do these people do for a living? Today, we're gonna knock on their doors and find out. And I'm gonna be asking them for advice so that we can do the same. Sir, do you live here? You live right here? Oh, love the house.
I know, we love it too.
Have you been here for a long time?
Just a year.
I run a tech company, but we do YouTube to educate young entrepreneurs.
Nice.
And so we're trying to find advice for people that aspire to have a house like this one day.
It's hard to advise. You know, I think it's what you love. Do what you love. Be smart. Go to school.
Yeah.
Work hard. I worked at Adobe, I worked at Yahoo, and the last 13 years I was at NVIDIA.
Oh, wow. Oh, that's done exceptionally well. How did you find out what you loved?
I didn't. I wanted to be a singer. I wanted to be a teacher. Sometimes you fall into things, right?
Okay.
My husband, he found a job at IBM, moved to the Bay Area years ago. So I just went along like a puppy. So sometimes life guides you, yeah.
I've been wondering about that. Like, do you try to say, hey, I want to go here and then really go after that? Or you just be like, hey, let's kind of see where it goes, where the flow goes?
You know, you can plan all you want and then life throws things at you.
I love your house.
We built the house, so.
Oh, you guys did?
Designed it, so I would love to talk about it.
And so you're an architect?
I'm a designer. My husband is a veterinarian, and we own Paws, P-A-Z Veterinarian. 2 years ago, we sold half of the business to a partner company, so we still do all of the internal stuff. Nothing changed as far as our employees and the way that we manage people day to day. We have our own side company called Alive, Awake, and Aware, and so it's a hospitality consulting. We kind of run the homes and the designing and the consulting through that entity.
For some of our audience that's out there, I guess I'm curious, what would you recommend if they're coming up?
Well, the veterinarian, you'd have to talk to my husband. So he went to Texas and he got his MBA. He's been really successful, and we just opened up the clinics at the right time. Designer, I don't really know how to break into the design world. I'm fortunate because my husband decided to open up businesses and I got to design.
What is this house? What's the story?
I mean, her father's the one that bought the property. He was a local businessman here. In fact, the Yeti building? Yeah, that was her father bought that in '34.
And you guys have lived here for quite a while, I'm guessing?
I've been here a while, 15 years. I'm a software developer too, so I work from home.
I guess, what would be your advice for someone starting in their career?
I think COVID's just changed everything and actually opened up the world for entrepreneurs again. So anybody can start a business out of their house now. Just even 5 years ago, you kind of had to have a brick and mortar space.
If you had to do your career, would you still go into tech?
Sure. The reason I did is just constantly growing. What doesn't have software in it? Look at the light bulb up there, it's got software in it.
I had one major thought from interacting with him, which is how much wisdom is there in older people that we're just not tapping into? How many of our grandparents or our friends' parents have been really, really, really successful? And how much are we actually talking to them about what they did so that we can not make their mistakes and be as successful, if not more successful than them? Yes, sir. So we're looking at if you have any advice for younger people.
I'd rather not talk.
You have like a minute?
I don't, not tonight.
Okay, appreciate it, sir. Was wondering if you wouldn't mind giving people advice for young entrepreneurs?
Not today.
Do you have like a few minutes?
The one who lives here is basically my boss. Now he's at the gym.
This is tough. I was wondering if you have any advice for young people that would love to get a house like this. Yeah, that's fine.
When I was younger, I wanted to be a painter, but I really didn't think I'd ever make it. But I was willing to fulfill that dream, just be a painter.
How'd you start selling some of your original art?
My mom was thinking, she said, can't you get a job in the art world? Getting a job in the art world is really tough. And so I went to the school counselor and said, do you have a job board or something? And sure enough, there was this one job available as assistant at a gallery in San Francisco. So I walked in the door and asked this girl, I hear you have a job available. And she said, what do you do? And I said, I'm a student at the Art Institute, on the street here. And she said, you're hired. I met a lot of big-time art dealers and some artists. I remember trying to show my work to some of these guys. And one guy said, wow, he said, I'll take some of your work. I'm going to Australia. Just took my art. He was going to go on this tour of all the galleries and to sell work. He was selling pretty big-time artists, but he decided to take my work along. Some of the prices were $500 to $2,000. He calls me. He said, I got back. I want to take you out to lunch. I got a check for you. We were at dinner at lunch in San Francisco on Union Street. He said, oh yeah, I got this check. I look at it and I go, put it in my pocket. I said, didn't you look at it? I said, yeah, it was like $2,000, man. That's pretty cool. He said, no, it was $20,000. And $20,000
yeah, back then
was a lot of friggin' money.
I think that's one thing that's been interesting about this whole series is that a lot of people who do have money or have a nice house or have a nice car or seem successful or are successful actually are more accessible and helpful than I think people realize. You just have to ask them. So just go and talk to that person next time or ask for a referral to a friend who seems like they're doing well. They'll tell you how they did it and make it a lot easier for you to, if that's what you want in your own life. I actually think this is the most photographed house on Instagram.
Hi. Hi.
Hi, do you have like 2 minutes? We'll just meet people that live in nice houses and ask them what they do.
Well, I don't own the house. I work here.
Oh.
I live here.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
that's awesome.
Yeah, we run a women's nonprofit. We train women in financial literacy and entrepreneurship. The nonprofit's the Adelante movement, and then the for-profit is Self-Made. My boss wrote a book called Self-Made, and she's the owner of the whole compound.
So you live here and then she lives here?
Yeah, and we run the business out of here.
How did she get her start?
She was in the entertainment business for years and years and years, and then she was on the board of Coca-Cola. That's how she kind of got started.
I'm Noah, by the way.
Jake.
Jake, is it okay if we film?
Yeah, go ahead.
Are you ATX Pro Builders?
Yeah, ATX Pro Builders.
How did you get into home building?
I was going to be a structural engineer. I also took architecture in high school and a little bit in college. I ended up in boarding school, and then out of boarding school I went straight to the Marines. They put the discipline in me to do businesses, I guess, and then the hard work that I put in daily just building houses. Like, I don't like to sit around. So I got my real estate license 15 years ago. Started flipping houses with my brother. We'd buy older houses, fix them up, flip them, and then just transition into this.
Is there a chance we could see the bottom floor at all?
Yeah, sure. I don't know how clean it is, guys.
When you wake up in the morning, what inspires you around this stuff?
It's definitely not about money for me. It's the legacy. I'll be able to say I built that house and lived in it.
That's cool.
And I'll be able to say the same about the one across the street and the one down the street and the one, you know what I mean?
Yeah, that's a cool way to think about it. There's a lot of ways to make money that aren't super flashy. A lot of times boring is really sexy. And the second thing that's really interesting about all these houses that are out here is that most of these people have gotten wealthy from one way.
I'm Mia Argentieri.
Oh, great last name.
This is my home here in LA, but we live pretty much in Italy full time now because we're wine vintners. Started as a writer, creative director. I worked in advertising mostly. Then I started doing script doctoring. Then I wrote a couple of scripts, and I started doing, proper writing. Now I write for an Italian magazine as a freelance gig, and then did marketing for movies. Wrote, for example, Silence of the Lambs. I wrote the whole marketing campaign for the movie. And then my husband is a director, mostly commercials, but also rock videos. That's how we started. We had a production company here in LA for many years. Our company took us to Europe to shoot commercials.
Yeah.
Like Fiat and Barilla and, Italian companies. I've been working since I'm 14, so, That's right. You got to do that to get the dream life, I guess.
That is amazing.
It's just about discipline. You can't get successful without discipline unless you're born into it, I guess.
Sometimes I feel like I'm like overly disciplined. Like I'm just like so regimented that I can't be flexible, and then I'm trying to sometimes figure where that...
No, you have to be flexible in the sense that if there's the detour, take it, because something else might reveal itself to you. You gotta pay attention, you gotta be organized, and you gotta have discipline. Those are my 3 cardinal rules. And then everything in moderation, including moderation. That's the main one, okay?
After seeing all these amazing houses and really cool people out here, I want to give you $1,000 to help you on your business journey. Hit like and subscribe and leave a comment below, and one person will get $1,000. And if you like this video, you are going to love this video right up here where I ask crypto millionaires how to invest their first few $1,000s. And make sure to subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Uncle Noah loves you, and I'll see you out there. Pew, pew.